We have this in the DB Mastery Program. That's why I probably love this so much. We have this exact footwork in the DB Mastery Program. Make sure you guys go check out the link in the description. What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here. We're here to get into it. We're here to talk about the College Football National Championship. Indiana defeats Miami 21-27. And you know I had to bring you the top wide receiver versus DB breakdowns. Before I get into it, just my thoughts. Miami did a good job early on playing the back shoulder fade. If you've ever watched Indiana play, they are masters of the back shoulder fade with Surratt and Becker, two really great receivers. And then Mendoza, number one pick, putting the ball where it needs to be. On the flip side, D'Angelo Pons and I think the Indiana secondary, they played a good game as well, especially Pons, right? Proven haters wrong, doubters wrong with whether you believe it's a height disadvantage or not. But he displayed good technique. There was a lot of grabbing, a lot of pushing by both sides. And sometimes they were called, sometimes they weren't called. And I think that's the frustration is, okay, like what is the rule? But a lot of times it's just hard to see. And right, to be honest, if we call it every single time, like you could probably have 10 holdings every game, right, on the wide receiver or on the DB side. And that's not even accounting for, okay, is he just only holding him or is he getting pushed off and he's trying to maintain position? Make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com. There's a play in here that I absolutely love, and the footwork is in the DB Mastery Program. It's called the Zigzag Drill. So I really like that play. So we're going to go over that, and then make sure you join our DB community, man. We're probably going to interview D'Angelo Pons soon now that he's available. But we interviewed Avion Terrell. We've interviewed Durante Jones, who's the defensive pass game coordinator for the Vikings, and he's interviewing for the DC job for the Cowboys. So we got a ton of things there, but let me be quiet and let me get to the video. And I hate to start here, but I have to. As a former DB, I've been beat on national television for like 75 yards for a touchdown. So I always try my best not to highlight someone else's mistakes, but this is where the game was pretty much lost. At the end, they found their mismatch that they wanted to go to. And number 80, who was actually a really good receiver, I got to give him credit, going against number 24. They hit him with like two back shoulders in a row. And like Miami could not adjust. At least he couldn't adjust. This is a crazy football. But I will say that even though these are good, well-placed footballs, I'm surprised that number 24 was playing the fade like this because I'm going to show you clips on number 29 playing the fade. Because if you watch Indiana, they throw the back shoulder fade. They're really good at throwing the back shoulder fade. All right, D'Angelo Pons obviously had a good game. It really kind of bothers me that people say, oh, he's 5'9", look what he's doing. And it's like, well, dude, I'm 5'9". And before Richard Sherman, most corners were 5'9", 5'10". I think Revis is only like 5'11", right? So it's only in like the last 10 years that the 6'1" and above corner was the minimum. Back when I was coming up, it was very normal for a 5'10", 5'11", 5'9" DB to be playing in the NFL, let alone college. I don't think college height matters too much because you're not going against the best of the best, right? In the NFL, you're going against guys that are tall and fast and can run routes, all the above. In college, like you might go against one or two NFL caliber receivers your entire career, right? So, and a lot of times your positioning can prevent guys from elevating. I'll talk about that as well. All right. So starting with D'Angelo Pons, positioning trumps height or lack of height. Okay. We're in cover 3. The receiver's in our blind spot. He does a great job of angling, all right, to cap the receiver. Boom. Now we're on top. The first thing is just to make sure stay on top. All right. And once you're under the receiver and he has to work through your body, notice how we're able to elevate and the receiver isn't. All right. A lot of times, okay, being under a receiver, just like you're boxing out. All right. In basketball, if you box out, you're moving the receiver's lower body. They're not going to have a base to really jump from. So positioning matters. And then you got to be scrappy at the top of the route. Scrappy here. You have to be more aggressive than the receiver at the top of the route. All right, because usually when you go to the ground, the ball comes out. All right, notice how the ball doesn't come out until they go to the ground. All right, this is a catch, this is a catch. You have to make sure that you always go to the ground. You never know what is going to poke that ball out. Great job here. And D'Angelo Pons did a good job all day. So this goes back to the game plan, right? I know Miami was prepared for the back shoulder because I know number 29 was prepared. So I think number 24 just had to stick to the game plan a little bit. We're inching back. As soon as we get that outside release, right? As soon as we get that outside release, look what we do. We're on top, or we get chest to chest. There's a lot of pushing, a lot of grabbing, a lot of push-pull here, all right, on a lot of the plays. This one wasn't called, I believe. But notice how he's not turning to locate the football. Like he's not turning towards the quarterback where he is now. All right. So this is a chest to chest look. This is what you do when you're trying to combat the back shoulder fade. And you notice how, again, sometimes it was called, a lot of times it wasn't, but he did a lot better in his one-on-ones versus Surratt, even though Surratt's a smaller receiver than the other corner did. Great kick step, all right? Outside release, kick step here, staying square, staying in front, staying on top. And now look, when we're on top, when you kick step, right, and it's all in the footwork. When you can get a kick step, you're going to be on top most times. And again, notice how he's chest to chest and he's playing the back shoulder fade. Playing the back shoulder fade. Playing the back shoulder fade. And I think they call a flag on this one. You just got to get your hands off the jersey. I've never been a big jersey guy. Like, even when I was playing, it was very rare that I grabbed jersey. Very, very rare. Maybe I should have. Because it's such a 50-50 call in my opinion. But I do think it's possible to guard these without grabbing the shoulder or grabbing the jersey. I'm sorry. Makes a good play, but it got called for a flag. And then D'Angelo Pons again. Inch back. He's going against a bigger receiver. He gets an offhand punch. All right. And this is debatable. And it happens so fast. I'm going to play this in regular speed. Because this is how fast things happen. Right. You can barely even see that happens unless you see this angle. Right. Now you see his jersey's being pulled, as being whatever. Right. But a lot of times it's just a judgment call. Right. So how do you judge this? Okay. Once we get our hands on, okay, and he swipes us by and he throws us by, right? Like, is it legal for us to kind of pull to keep in position? Coach Bill Belichick will say, hey, we wore the same color gloves as their jerseys, so you couldn't really see. It's really hard to see. So if he's wearing red gloves, you'll probably be able to see the contrast. Because he's wearing white gloves, it's really hard to see this, right? But good offhand punch, good battle here, okay? Makes a play on the football. I'm interested to see where his draft stock is because I do think he's an NFL caliber player based on what he's put on film. He's been battle tested. All right. And this is my favorite rep. This was the first major DB play of the game. To me, watch his footwork. All right. And we have this in the DB Mastery program. That's why I probably love this so much. We have this exact footwork in the DB Mastery program. Make sure you guys go check out the link in the description. So watch his feet. He's going to kick step. And this is just like the zigzag drill. Kick step 45, and cut off, stay in front, stay square. Kick step, boom. Keeps us on top, all right? And this is against Becker, the really good tall receiver that had the back shoulders against number 24. And immediately, look, gets chest to chest and plays the back shoulder. That's why I tell you, like, they game plan for this. Number 29 had a heck of a game. I think his name is OJ Frederic Jr. Heck of a play. But, yeah, guys, it was a great season. Congrats to Indiana. I kind of wanted them to win considering I like seeing undefeated teams. And I like D'Angelo Pons. And I kind of like their whole story, right? Nothing against Miami, but I'm a story guy. And I'm a 5'9" corner, so I was rooting for Pons. But make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com. We have the footwork used here. We have a bunch of back shoulder breakdowns, and make sure you join our private DB group on school.com/DB network. We interview power forward coaches, NFL coaches, power forward DBs, 5-star, 4-star DBs. We provide resources to parents, players, anyone looking to get better. We have a former NCAA employee on our staff. So if you have any eligibility questions as a college player or a parent, a high schooler, anything, we have all of that in our private DB group. I promise you guys will find value. School.com/DB network. I'll put the link in the description.